Welcome everybody to another game of Axis and Allies Online. This is my second Axis placement game in ranked season number 13. In this game, my opponent is HesterBear23, who in the previous ranked season was the 967th silver ranked allied player. All in all, it was a really good game. It required us, or me, to be flexible in my approach, think outside the box a little bit, and lean on the math and taking calculated risks when you have the opportunity to do so. But regardless, there's a lot of great things to take away from this game. So without further ado, and to spare you all from me rambling anymore, we'll go ahead and get this game started. But let's go ahead and start with taking a look at what Russia did in their turn one. He purchased 2 tanks, 4 infantry, aggressive purchase. And he looks to have done the typical 12-9. So he went into West Russia, he only lost 2 infantry, so good outcome for him. Then he went ahead and hopped into Ukraine and only lost 3 infantry. And he took the territory with 3 tanks, 1 artillery, and then he moved an AA gun into there. All in all, pretty solid opener for the Russians. With the Germans, we aren't going to reinvent the wheel here on turn 1. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a bomber. Need to replace the bomber we lost in Ukraine. We'll get 7 infantry, 2 artillery, and go ahead and lock that in. Now combat, I've been kind of flirting with a number of different ideas. I think for this one, I'm just going to play a cookie cutter Germany, at least in the early game here. So we're going to do a lot of the standard moves here, which means we're going to start with first making sure that we hit C zone 7. This is a must. You cannot not do this attack in some form. Now, do we go heavy, meaning we send all 2 of these subs, or do we go light? If we go light, we have the option to send this sub at one of these destroyer transport combos. I'm going to come back to that one. In the med, I'm going to go ahead and take an infantry, artillery. We're going to move the bomber into 17. And then we're going to take bomber, the battleship, to take out the destroyer in 17. Then we'll hop across, drop these guys in Transjordan. We are going to have to take back Ukraine. So let's take a look at what this looks like. 2 infantry, 2 infantry. And we can send some tanks, and we obviously can send some fighters. We're going to need 1 or both, but no, we're not, because we actually have 3 other infantry up here. But honestly, I still think we're going to have to send both. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to send 1 of these guys into Karelia. I don't think I'm going to try and stack Karelia yet. I'll send 1 of these guys into Ukraine. Then I'm honestly thinking of sending all the fighters we have, what is it, 3 of them remaining, into Ukraine. I know he has the AA gun there. And knowing me, in my experience, AA guns always hit. I don't think I've ever not had an AA gun hit. I don't think I've ever bombed an industrial complex and it not hit me. Is that just me? Is anyone else in that same boat? But this early in the game, I don't think I'm going to be too worried about losing a fighter. And if I lose 2, that's a different story. But that would be a statistical anomaly. So I feel good about that. We can always buy another fighter. So I'm not going to stress too much about it. We do need to take Ukraine. That is the priority at the moment. Everything else is good to go other than this 1 sub. So what do we do? I've been getting kind of screwed on C zone 7 lately, so history tells me I should send it there. It does give the UK an option to very quickly then try and establish a fleet. And I really love trying to take the shot. When it hits, it's so nice. But we'll play this one by the book. We'll send everything into 7. Make sure that that goes as we hope. And then that's going to do it for us here on Germany 1 combat. Whoa. No, it's not. This transport. We got to do something productive with it because it will die. The only productive option I see, take Iceland is the obvious one. I don't see the benefit of moving, these guys up here, right? Like they can move into Baltic states and they'll be hitting Karelia next turn anyway. So that's not exactly a great use of that. Redundant use if I were to do it. Let's take Iceland. Let's go ahead and take Iceland. Why not? Huh? You know what I say? That's what I always say. Why not? Give me a good reason not to take Iceland. It can only help us, and the transport's gonna die anyways. That's gonna do it. Ukraine's favorable. I wonder if that's because, you know what? Let's send 1 tank. If he hits a fighter, we're going to be in a serious predicament there. So let's send 1 tank. And now it likes it. Okay. clean. Love it. Nice. Love it. This is the big one. Of course, always. And then we miss everything. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Force. Yes, thank you, Jesus. We're gonna set the tank, boys. Of course. Alright, combat was pretty whatever. Thank God we sent the tank. Ukraine. Game calculator saving my ass on that one. So we did not get good dice. Dude, this guy hit on all his ones. He hit on the Russian sub, defending at a 1. He hit on... I mean, I guess he rolled 3 dice on the aircrafts. So I guess I can't be too upset with that. But he hit one of the fighters, of course. And it's just annoying. But whatever. We knew that. I knew that was a risk. We'll just have to buy another one next turn. We're going to send all the fighters up into Finland. Tanks, we're going to centralize. These guys are going to move up. Tanks, we're going to centralize. This thing is going to go into France. This guy is going to drop into here. Tanks, we're going to centralize. We'll drop another guy into France. Tanks, we're going to centralize. This aircraft gun's going to go up. Actually, no. Aircraft gun's going to go this way. I feel like I always end up needing it more in Ukraine. Trying to hold Ukraine. So we'll put it here for now. We can continue to move it that way if needed. These 2 Norwegians are going to slide over. And actually, this aircraft gun's going to go to France. We might as well have 2. I'm going to go ahead and stop these guys from landing in Morocco. Or actually, maybe not. I'm going to move everything back into Algeria here. We'll trade Libya. That means we'll just take the tank from that if he wants to, do the blitz thing. My guess is he'll go pretty hard into Transjordan. And maybe we'll have the bomber and the transport. We can bring some extra guys next turn. These 2 fighters going to Finland. I think that is everything. All right, that's going to close. Non-combat. Bomber. 1 infantry into Italy. Artillery, I mean, Jesus. Now 1 infantry, and then everything else. Infantry-wise into Germany. So, not a great German opener for us. We had a pretty good Russian turn, and then we had a pretty bad German turn. So let's hope that changes heading into Japan 1. See you guys then. We are back with Japan 1. We are both online, and we are cooking. This guy ran through his turn in, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes? So let's take a look at what he did. He went ahead and purchased 2 fighters, 2 infantry, and artillery. That's a purchase I actually really like. He mobilizes 3 of them in India, the 2 fighters into the UK, and the whole idea is to just start shipping as much air as possible into Europe. Now, I'm realizing this whole idea to stack troops in Algeria is stupid, because now he's going to have the bomber, which sucks. I could hit that, obviously, with those 5 guys, and it would have been easy to wipe that. So that was a mistake, and I don't think I'll ever make that again. The whole idea was to deter the Americans from landing in Morocco, but do I really care? I don't think so. So, lessons learned there. That already was a mistake. He's going to have an extra bomber that he shouldn't have throughout the rest of this game, and even a fighter, to be honest. I mean, I could have hit all that. So that really sucks. That's like 28 IPC that I've just given him for free. Those are not the type of moves you want to make. Combat-wise, took out the transport that we used to take Iceland. Hit Transjordan, pretty hard too, but took out the 2 units that we had there. Went ahead with the New Guinea play with much success. He took that. Cruiser and transport are now in 49. C-Zone 17. He took out the battleship transport. But yeah, so he took the hit on the fighter though. But I don't know. Yeah, I guess he knew the bomber would survive, so that's why he didn't, do that. Typically, you take the bomber hit there. But that's because I'm about to come in and hit it, and I'm not because I'm an idiot. C-Zone 7 took out the cruiser here, and no units lost. So, I mean, all in all, pretty good turn. I think that's exactly what he was hoping for. What are we going to do with Japan? Here's my thought. Purchase-wise, I don't know if you consider this aggressive or if this is defensive. We're going to get 3 transports, 2 infantry. I want to get as many units into the mainland as quickly as I possibly can. Doesn't seem like he's going KJF with the purchase. The extra transports will be really helpful to get pressure on India if the opportunity presents itself. We'll save those 3 IPC. We can use that next turn. Let's lock it in. Combat, we're doing Pearl Harbor. I don't think I ever not do Pearl Harbor. It's worth noting he went ahead and moved his sub to 43, but I don't think that's where you want that. I think you want it in 44. Because in 44, the benefit of having it there is, one, if I'm not submerging my sub, you have a good probability of actually hitting the sub. If my defense profiles aren't set. So that's a fight you should try to take, because it actually gives you some decent odds at defending Pearl Harbor. But if you don't, if I submerge, my carrier, if one of my fighters survive, has to be here in 50 or 51 or 49. And either of those you can hit with the sub. Maybe he doesn't care because he's got the cruiser here. My thought is I'm going to take that out though. So you can't really assume that that would survive. So just having it here gives you a shot at the aircraft carrier with the planes that have to land from Pearl Harbor. Anyways, I'm rambling. Just little minor things like that I like to point out. Some lessons I've learned over the many years. Yep, I think that's all we need for Pearl Harbor. He's got his 4 guys here. I'm thinking how hard I should step in here. Let's do the other math and figure it out. We're going to send all 4 guys into Anhui. I really want to get this transport. So if I go after the transport with the fighter, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That means a carrier has to land in 36. Am I in any danger there? 1, 2, 3. All that is there is the bomber that can hit me. The fighter can hit me unless I take Burma. All right, so I'm going to take the 1 here. My other thought is just my getting a little too over concerned with this transport. I think it's annoying, but I'm not going to have any pressure on India. It's not like this transport can do anything. He's not seriously threatening to take the East Indies or Borneo. I wonder if he'd just run it away, to be honest. And then save it to maybe like sneak back and try to take it. Interesting questions. Interesting questions. The reason I'm hesitating is I don't think I can have my carrier here. I think I need the battleship to take out the cruiser, which means these 2 guys need to hit this. Might as well send the 1 guy into Burma. Fighter hits this. Infantry, artillery hits this. And then we have these 2 fighters, which could also hit that. That means carrier comes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These fighters can hit the cruiser transport in New Guinea. And then we can take the infantry. I really want to take New Guinea back. All right, let me just map this out. Let's see what our options are. If I take artillery, infantry, drop it down here, hit the island. 2 fighters hitting that. But what we can also do instead is send a battleship destroyer. Battleship will help, or the destroyer will help with the sub. You can also move the carrier down here with the fighters that survive Pearl Harbor, or fighter that survives Pearl Harbor. And then these 2 guys, in theory. Oh, you can't. Oh, darn it. Yeah, so the carrier needs to be available to go to 53 if the fighter survives that's coming from Japan. So I can't actually use them in the fight on the mainland. I wonder if we can then instead send the fighters with the destroyer fight. And can we bombard with the battleship? No, it has to fight in the fight. And then I need to remember that I'm building 3 transports. I have to ensure if I move my destroyer or my battleship that there is nothing. Well, actually, there's no reason to send this much, right? So we can leave the battleship out. Well, actually, I want to send the battleship. Maybe we leave the destroyer out just in case I miscalculate something. Quick skim of the board, though. He has this American fighter. 1, 2, 3. Then we must land. We must take this, at least take this territory. Then we can build in either of those. I don't think it matters, but 60 should be safe, right? And I do think these 2 fighters coming after this cruiser is overkill. So we'll at least send 1 into there, and honestly, they both might be overkill. It's fighter battleship. The battleship. Whoa! Hello! What's going on? The battleship should be able to take that. Is there any reason not to just send the fighter into Yunnan? This fighter is going to assist in this fight. And then I'm going to send all 2 of these guys up. So we'll have 3 units here. I'll take that 4v3 if he really wants to. I'd love to take these. Nice IPC from the Russians. Okay, I think that's going to do it. We'll go ahead and lock this in. Let him roll, baby. Oh shit. I mean, there's a chance he misses. So, he has a destroyer left before the fighter? That's weird. I think I gotta lose this guy to save the aircraft carrier. Okay, combat was pretty good, maybe great. So what was funny was in this battle here in Anhui, we had 4 1s rolling. We hit 3 of them. So I'm really hoping that's a sign of the kind of dice we're gonna get the rest of the game, and not all of the good dice being used in one relatively meaningless battle here. So let's hope we didn't just spend all the good rolls. Move this guy up from Malaya. Pearl Harbor went as expected. Interestingly, he took the hit on the fighter and left the destroyer, so that's an interesting defense profile. I think it's because we had a sub left, so they think there's a setting to keep the destroyer when a sub's present. But either way, it required me, and I almost blundered, but you need to take the hit on the fighter that has no fuel left, otherwise you have to bring this carrier in here, and you'll get wipes. He's got fighters, bombers, battleships coming. So we took the right hit there. We'll go ahead and we'll move these fighters down into C-Zone 49. The bomber here can actually land here in the Solomons at 0 risk of getting hit because we are blocking with the cruiser. These fighters, I think we can have 2 go there. And then our 1 additional fighter, I think we'll just land in Manchuria. And we're going to build the transports in 60 with the destroyer, and we should be safe there anyways, even if the destroyer wasn't. All right. So pretty good turn 1 for Japan. I am not going to complain about that one bit. 3 transports into 60, 2 infantry onto the mainland, and we'll see you guys for Germany 2, which will be in 10 minutes. I know for you guys it'll be immediately, but for me, I'll probably stick around and we'll see you guys then. Germany 2. Okay, Germany 2. Let's see what the Americans and Russians are up to last turn. Americans bought 2 transports, carrier, 2 infantry, 2 artilleries. He is moving everything to the Atlantic, and he is going very clearly full in onto a KGF. So we will need to hunker down as Germany. Russians bought another 2 tanks, 5 infantry, or did he buy 2 tanks last turn? Yeah, he did. All right, so he's got a nice beefy tank corps brewing. Germans, we don't have much in regards to purchase that we can consider. Got 8 infantry, 2 artillery, and then we're going to replace our fighter. Then we're going to have to map out exactly how we plan to take back. A lot of these territories we are very slowly losing due to the good Russian turn in round 1. Immediate thought is stack Karelia. Let's just see what this looks like. We have 16. He's got 8, 9, and 5 tanks. 10. So we can get 15. 2 fighters. Yeah, Germany's already in it. Germany's already stepped in it. Oh boy. Now it's a lot of 1s. I think we could take it. I think we could hold it. Is it worth it to then forego an attack on Bello in Ukraine? Because that's ultimately what we're saying. I'm going to go ahead and move these guys down while I'm thinking about that. I do think taking and holding Karelia would be a good thing. My only hesitation is just simply all our guys are required to do it. Which means we can't hit Bello. We can't hit Ukraine. Ukraine, I kind of messed this up, man. There's no infantry here in Poland. So I have to send tanks. But it's not like we have a chance to take Moscow, so you losing a tank or two is not the end of the world. Just this seems like just against everything I've ever learned about this game. You really don't want to be just burning tanks. Why would I do that? Oh boy. The only positive if we try to stack Ukraine is if we move, you know, units into Baltic and Belo, or Baltic and Poland. So I'm gonna have a ton to hit here with. He's gonna have all the tanks if he wants. Oh my god, I don't know what to do. So the fact that I can't really make this work means it's probably not the right idea. Is trading this the right idea then? So we do this. And fuck it, we send 2 tanks. And then we go bomber, fighter, fighter, 1, 2, 3. Fighter, fighter. I mean, is that the play? I hate the 2 tank play. If I do Ukraine, I'm gonna do 1 tank. Bomber. And there's no way I get screwed twice, right? And the odds of him hitting here twice is like 16%. I mean, yeah, this is all I got. This is gonna be a game we're just praying to get Japan rolling ASAP. Lock it in. Oh my god. Alright, let's get this one out of the way. I just feel like my bones, I'm gonna get screwed. Wow. Whew. Okay, well we won the sweater in Ukraine. Got lucky, got no hitbacks, which is just music to my ears. So that'll be an even trade. 2 infantry or 6 IPC for the 1 tank. Send the bomber back into the mainland, and ultimately we're at a point, well, we can hit from Germany with the fighters, which is nice. So we can actually send all the fighters to Germany. Can this one get there? I don't think so, actually. So he has to be in Poland. Now my other thought is he can actually just land on this guy in Finland. So is it better to avoid him just landing on him? I mean, he doesn't have a carrier yet with the UK. So if he does it with the UK, it would be just the 2 on the transport, but then he can drop 4 for the Americans. Otherwise, we send these 5 units into Karelia, and that'd be dumb of him not to try and hit that. Additionally, we got to look at France. Do we try to hold France? I think we'll add a little bit of meat to France. So if we have 5 there, he can drop with 4 with the Americans or 4 with the 2 fighters. I don't think he would do that. This 1 artillery can come up to Germany. Now we have the option, we can send these 7 tanks now, but the calculus hasn't changed. 10 infantry, 5 tanks, 2 fighters. Yeah, what's that, 17? Yeah. Unfortunately, those 3 guys are gonna die. The question is, do I put these other 5 guys in here just to make it hard on him and then try to hit it next turn? And I'm kind of answering my own questions. I'm gonna do it. Cannot forget to put a couple infantry. Let's put 3 into Poland so that we can hit Ukraine. And that's gonna do it for Germany, round 2. Germany's already in a little bit of a bad way. There's no way to get around that. We'll go ahead and deploy our infantry. We'll be buying predominantly infantry the rest of this game. And we'll do our best in Japan too. See if we can get a Japan beast up and running and rolling through Asia. Welcome back for Japan, round number 2. Take a look at what the British did last turn. And I think they did the same exact purchase. They bought 2 infantry and artillery, 2 fighters. So they seem really hell-bent on putting 3 units in India and then continuing just mass produce as much air to try and ship that east into the continent. Combat-wise, landed in Morocco here. And then they took Burma back with 2 units. And then if we just kind of look at the state of the board, looks like he shuffled some more units into Egypt. So he's got a pretty good Africa Corps building here in Egypt. These guys, these Germans here in Africa, their time is dwindling. He's got, what, 7 units here, a bomber. And if we do a serious threat on India, he has the option to obviously send all 4 of these fighters into India.
So I don't think stacking Burma is really in the question this turn. I did think about it. We could get with these 4 units, and then what, 8? So we can get 12 units there. It's probably worth it just to wait one more turn. So drop these 8 guys here into Yunnan, or 6 guys, and then these 2 guys from New Guinea. But actually, maybe I won't do that. Maybe we'll drop these 6 guys here. Yeah, I kind of like that idea, actually. Sorry, I'm changing my strategy as I'm talking through this. We'll land these guys into Yunnan. We'll figure out exactly what we want to do with the other attacks here. But we'll wait 2 more turns. So we'll look to maybe, possibly, try and stack Burma in round number 3. And then put a serious threat on India. And these guys, I'm thinking I want to send them into Australia. This is just free IPC. Since we're already here in New Guinea with the transport, let's just take it. It's going to take us a turn, maybe 2. Maybe we'll have some guys left there, but we can pick them up later if we want. But if we have them here in the transport in 46, gives us the option to then pick up additional guys and drop them into Burma next turn. But we want to focus on trying to get people into the mainland, right? Germany is going to be under serious pressure in, what, a turn or 2 at most? We need to start putting pressure on Russia with Japan. All right, so that's the plan. So what do we do purchase-wise to try and support that? It's kind of trying to flirt with the idea of getting 2 more fighters. Because I think Germany's going to need a lot of defense. I mean, if we max out the IPC, we can get 3 infantry, 2 artilleries. We'll have a spot open on the transport, which sucks. But that would allow us to get 2 more fighters. We have a lot of guys on these islands, so that's one reason why I'm thinking we maybe can afford to not do it. Wait, oh, actually, we got guys on the Philippines. Oh, okay. So if we land these transports here, 2 will come back to the mainland to pick up what we buy. So that really only needs to be that. And we can actually make 1 of these fighters Obama. So, do you follow? These 3 transports will drop here in 61. Next round, 2 can go here, but 1 can go to the Philippines and grab those guys. And then 1 of these becomes Obama. And we can actually then get an extra artillery. But no, I can't, because we can't load the transports then. So don't forget that. You always need to have at least 1 infantry in the transports. And we'll bank that 1 IPC. I love it. I love it a lot. Okay, lock that in. Attacks. We're going to send 1 guy over here into whatever this is, Soviet Far East. Not going to move into Yakut. He's got these 4 infantries with a fighter, so he wants to defend that. I will let him do that. I'm assuming he'll need to bring these guys back next turn, but it does delay us a little. But I'm not going to let him bait me into wiping these 3 guys. He's going to need them back west, so eventually we'll have that open to take. We do want to take at least these 2 guys to hit Kwangtung. Now, he has the fighter and this bomber, American bomber, to support these 2. So anything we send into Sichuan is going to be under attack, potentially. I don't really think that matters, so for the moment, I'm going to send 2 guys there. Now this fighter, 1, 2. And do we hit Burma? We can with these units and the fighters. I think I want to continue to force India to trade. I think that's in our interest, because we have the ability to get we have the ability to get more troops to India quicker. In regards to like mobilizing, and we're dropping 6 to 8 units a turn, you know, off the Burma border. Burma border. So I do think we want to do this. What if we do? Maybe we do it kind of light though. Send infantry, artillery, and we can maybe send those 4 into here just to make that a little. Keep them honest. These 2, can the bomber hit? Let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Has to land in Yunnan. That's fine. So the bomber can hit. It's fine because we're going to move these 6 guys and they'll land in Yunnan. These 2 fighters can also play. Can these fighters play? Yes, they can. They are here to play and stay. But the more I say that, maybe we want 1 to assist with hitting this guy in Australia, just so that nothing silly goes on here, because this is kind of like taking time out of our day to go mess with this. And we do get a bombard, which is nice. It's maybe not required, but it's maybe overkill. And the fighter here in 46 is still not out of range of supporting anything we would look at doing in Burma or India in next turn or the turn after. So he'll come here. And is that everybody? No, it's not. So the question is, do we send these 4 guys here? Keep these Americans honest? I kind of like that. If you're going to do it, things could go bad for you. You're attacking with 1s here. Yeah, I like that. We'll send those guys there. Okay. Soviet Far East, Guangdong, Sichuan, Burma, Western Australia. Let it rip. Nice. Okay. Come on. There we go. Nice. Alright, combat was good. I think we took maybe 1 or 2 hitbacks, took everything else. Really nothing to note or sweat about on that one, which is very relieving. I think we're going to land all the fighters here and the bomber into Yunnan, because we're going to take these 3 guys. We're going to drop you into Yunnan. The destroyer can come down and with this little fleet off the coast. Cruiser, sub can head, well, maybe, I don't think we want to give him a free shot at the cruiser. Since it can't join us here, there's no point to stress and try and send them in range of what is a free shot on both of those with the 2. So we'll not allow him to do that. This fighter can land here, and that's going to do it for Japan. We'll go ahead and close our non-combat. Go ahead and build the bomber in Japan. We got the fighter in Japan. Everything in Japan. 2 infantry, 2 artilleries. And that is going to do it for Japan 2. We will see you guys back for Germany round 3. All right, Germany round 3. Take a look at what the Allies did last turn. United States purchased 3 infantry, 2 transports, and artillery. Mobilized that off the east coast of the US. Combat, they went ahead and they landed in Norway. The Russians purchased 2 tanks and 6 infantry, so it's still continuing to get tanks. I think he's bought 2 tanks every round. Don't think I've seen that. Very aggressive Russia. See how it turns out, how it plays out for him. Took Ukraine, lost an infantry. We had 1 tank there. So I think that ultimately ended up being, what, a 6 IPC for 9 IPC trade. So that was a pretty decent outcome for us there with that risk. And then they took Karelia, destroyed 5 infantry, and we lost 1. Ah, boy. Well, we knew that was a risk and a likely outcome that he would be able to take that. So that sucks, to put it bluntly. We'll likely have to try and take Karelia this turn again. Try to trade that back. We'll hit Ukraine and talk through some other general thoughts and strategies. Purchase-wise, the Allies are coming, so I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. We're getting 9 infantry. We'll get an artillery because we had an extra IPC, and I'm going to buy another fighter. I really like having a stack of fighters to assist with all infantry buys on the defensive because we need some kick. We can't just have stacks of 10, 20 infantry rolling at ones. We're going to need to threaten something, right? So that's going to do it for our purchase. It's a very defensive one. In Egypt, we don't have, any shot here. I think we'll end up rolling these guys back to Algeria and maybe potentially buy time for Japan to come over and assist with, whatever's going on here. But nothing to do there. As I mentioned, we're going to at least hit Ukraine. And then he has 4, 5 units here in Karelia, and I think we need to hit it with all we got and a lot of air. Additionally, we have Iceland, so we can hit this destroyer transport, which I think we will do. So we're going to send the bomber after that, 1, 2, 3, and we'll maybe send 1 fighter. For now, that'll be the plan. We want to send at least 1 fighter into the scrum in Ukraine, and then these other 3 probably need to go up here and hit Karelia. So we'll be a little lighter than I hope. I mean, obviously losing a fighter on that destroyer is not a fun trade, but I think taking a transport when we can is a good idea. Every transport we can take is a win for Germany. And that's going to do it. I mean, I think these attacks are kind of planned for us. We don't really have any other options. So we're going to lock that in, and we're going to let the dice roll. Thank you. And everyone hits. So weird. Is that at least? Oh, that's huge. That's huge. And then, oh, love that. Love that. Miss, miss, miss. Oh, that sucks. I think there's any reason to do a bomber. Alright, combat was good, not exceptional, only because the destroyer hit our fighter in C-Zone 3, so that was kind of a bummer. But on the flip side, he missed everything in Karelia. So we kind of traded really bad defensive dice. I had a not great outcome in the last turn, and he had obviously the worst possible outcome for him in this follow-up turn. So we'll have 5 units there, and those will be in good position there. Now, combat, I think these 3 fighters are fine in Germany. I don't think there's any reason to keep them in Poland. I mean, we're not going to be hitting West Russia. We're pretty much just looking to trade the front line here for as long as we can and preserve IPC. These guys are going to take a step back. Now, I need to kind of think through France and Italy. So he's got these 2 transports are loaded. Infantry, artillery on each of those. He's got these 2 guys. We'll have fighter support on all the landings. So what does France need then? So he can drop 4, he can hit with 6, and actually he has this transport loaded with 2 guys as well. And he has these guys, holy shit. So he can drop 8 guys into France with 2 bombardments and 2 fighters. This fighter cannot hit. Bomber and other fighter in India. Alright, so he can hit with like 10 to 12 guys, so at a minimum, we'll need what? These 7 guys in there? My only hesitation is we're going to need some guys to move forward to hit what I assume he'll take Bello and hit Ukraine and then possibly take Karelia again, which means we'll probably need to leave Italy. Oh, well, we have this 1 fighter we can land there. I mean, if we're going to do it, we might as well, right? We might as well go all in. That will assist. And we have these tanks. We're not using these tanks on the front line. So let's use them in defense. All right, let's rethink this. I totally forgot we have 7 tanks here. I think these would be great for defense, which is kind of counterintuitive. But we're not threatening Moscow with Germany. We're not going to try and take Moscow with Germany. So these 7 tanks are probably better used on the defensive, right? And we're going to want to trade with the infantry and the fighters. All right, so I'm thinking we'll put 4 tanks. That gets us up to 9, 12 into France. Maybe we leave Italy. If he wants to come into Italy, I don't think he's going to have enough to deter us from taking out those 2 transports and the carrier. Because we'll have all of our fighters in the bomber. We're building another fighter. So we'll have 5 fighters and a bomber that can all hit that. So I don't think Italy's a threat. That's enough to hold France. And then we'll want units in range of hit back and Karelia. He can stack Karelia, which he probably will do. If I were him, I would. He'll have 6 tanks and 7 units there, which, because we moved the fighters back, will not give us enough to hit it. And because we moved some of those tanks back, we will not have enough to hit that, even if we moved all of our guys into the Baltic. These 7 units, 3 tanks, that would give us 10. Then we could hit with all of our air. Can we put ourselves in a position to do that? I think it'd be a mistake if he did it, but we need to be in a position to punish it. So maybe instead of 4 tanks, we'll send 3, 1, so that's 9, and we'll send 3 infantry, so that's going to be a defense of 12, 2 AA guns. You can throw a fighter there that can still participate. Yeah, that should be good. He's got these 4 guys here. Ugh, this is so annoying. I don't have enough to contest all of these. I mean, we're going to want to keep one additional unit in at least Poland in case he decides to try and take that light. We'll at least have 2 guys there. And then just to prevent him from trying to stack Karelia, I think we move these 6 guys into the Baltic. That will give us 10 plus all of the air that we can hit that with if he tries to send his 7, 13, 14 units. It gives us an option. I don't even know if we'll do that, but I think that's going to cover us. I'm thinking about this way too much. I'm editing a lot of this out, but I'm just wasting my life sitting here just thinking. And I feel like half the time I start thinking about other things. Like I'm starting to think about what I'm going to do for lunch. Think about my plans later today. I think this is fine. I don't think there's any major mistakes. I think the logic is sound. We'll lock it in. And then we'll mobilize our dudes. Fighter into Germany. Artillery into Germany. Oh, and then we'll have 1 infantry into Italy and the rest into Germany. That is gonna do it for Germany round 3. We'll see you guys in Japan 3.
Japan, round number 3. Let's take a look and see what the UK did last turn. They continued with their purchase of 2 fighters and 3 infantry. Mobilized 3 of those infantry into India, fighters into England. You know, if it ain't broke, don't break it. So he's having success so far. He's going to stick with it. Combat-wise, he went ahead and stepped into Libya here. He destroyed the 1 artillery we had here in Burma. Lost an infantry doing so, which is great. And he went ahead and he stacked in. So he is not going to give up India. So we need to divert from our plan we were trying to put together last round of potentially stacking Burma, because we just don't simply have the chance, right? He has 4 infantry that he's committed south that will be able to land here next turn. He's can build 3 more units. He has 6 fighters. He has 2 and then some Russian fighters. It's just not going to happen. So we need to come up with some new ideas. My initial thoughts were twofold. We can stay in the Pacific. We can take Eastern Australia. We can take New Zealand. We can take Hawaii. Or we can use this same transport that's here, part of this fleet. Send 1 infantry here in Eastern Australia, then take the artillery and the infantry, and then start heading for South Africa. He's not going to be able to get troops into South Africa easily. He's going to have to divert troops from the Americas to do that. And any troops of the Americans that are landing to fight Japan in Africa, I think is pressure off Germany, which is ultimately a good thing. This transport that he moved up here into 17 will be picked off by our German bomber next turn, assuming I don't have a better use for it. And I'm kind of the mind that that's not a bad idea. I don't hate it. We do have to send boats with it because the bomber can still hit 30 and return to India. And regardless of which option we go with for this little fleet off Australia, I think our strategy on the mainland is to push hard, through this central gap and try to put pressure on Moscow. Doing that typically will require us to build an industrial complex in Manchuria, and then we'll want to reload these transports. And then I think we'll call it a day there in regards to the purchase. Now let's balance this out. We can maybe do 2 and 4, 3, 2, 1. I like that. Let's continue to build some quality units with the tanks. We have 5 fighters, 2 bombers. Put the IC down, and then we'll be pumping out, 9 units a turn? And then we can go mess with Africa with this transport down here. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Africa as opposed to going after New Zealand and Hawaii. Eventually, I think we'll have a transport to spare, a part of this fleet off the coast of China that can go grab Hawaii for us, in 2 turns or so. I think it's good, but I think we have to pivot, seeing as how committed our opponent is at preserving India, which I don't think is necessarily the wrong idea for him. We'll see if he can adjust to the pressure we are going to try and put on Moscow now. Now he backed the fighters off with these 3 infantry here, so we can go ahead and step in with these 3 guys. I think we can send these 3 units into Sinkang. We're going to end up moving some guys here into Sichuan so that he can't, blitz into here, even though that wouldn't necessarily be a good move. I'm of the mind we just send 1 unit into Burma, then we send all of our air at it. This 1 unit is going to take Western Australia, and then we're going to take the artillery
1 infantry, and we'll move these guys to 30 along with the battleship. We can have this bomber actually join the fight here in Burma. We can have this fighter actually join too. Just total overkill. All right, let's lock it in and let it run. All right, he missed in Burma, which is awesome. So our 1 infantry survives. We are going to land at least some of these. Let's just say, oh no, let's go max. Let's just say 4 for now. But let's quickly just add this transport up here. He's gonna come here. He's gonna grab one of these guys. And he's gonna come to 30. 1, 2, 3. The bomber can still hit. We need at least the battleship. And then do I just send the carrier with him? Because what else is the carrier gonna do? It's an extra unit. Why not? We'll send him with them. Sub can come back up with the main fleet. Same with the cruiser. I don't think there's anything for you to do out in the Pacific all alone. This guy will come here. Yeah, and we'll keep all the fighters on the mainland. I don't think we need the extra fleet defense from the 1 bomber. The battleship and the carrier should be able to take care of that on their own. Bombers, they're going to land in here as well. And I cannot forget to move all these guys here. So actually, we don't need all 3. Let me cancel that. We want 2 to come into here. Grab the artilleries, infantry, back into Yunnan. 1 to the Philippines. Scoop these guys up. Back into 61. Drop them into Yunnan. These 4 guys, the tank and the 2 infantry, all move up into Sichuan. And then the carrier and the sub I need to send back because I accidentally deleted that order. Now we are set. That's gonna do it for Japan round 3. Once we finish mobilizing, IC, tank, 2 artilleries, 3 infantries, and we will see you guys back in Germany round number 4. Germany round number 4. Take a look at what the Americans and Russians were up to last turn. And we are in round 3. Okay, purchase-wise, they bought an IC for Norway. 2 transports, 3 infantry, 2 artilleries. Combat, they stepped in Finland with the tank and the infantry. And then moved everything they had, all the boats, into Sea Zone, what is it, Sea Zone 8 off the coast of France here. And looks like his strategy seems to be that he is just going to try and drop a bomb on France. But I think we have enough to hold it. And I don't think we want to allow him to drop, what would that be, 12 units into France and stack it. So we are at full blown on the defensive with Germany right now. So purchase-wise, oh, and actually we didn't recap the Russians yet. They bought 4 infantry, 2 tanks, and an artillery. Combat, they stepped into Bello. They took Karelia, put 6 units and an AA gun in there. And they took Ukraine and have pushed 4 infantry into Ukraine. So he is fully focused on Germany and trying to get Germany right now, defending India. And I'm just hoping that we'll have enough pressure that we can put on the Russians with Japan to essentially get the Russians off of Germany's back because they are putting a lot of pressure on Germany right now. So we are full blown on the defensive with Germany, full blown on the offensive with Japan. That means Germany, we're buying as many infantry as we can. And just to round out our purchase, we'll get 2 artillery as well. We'll go ahead and we'll lock that in. Combat, I think this little Africa Corps is going to head and take its shot on these 4 units here in Morocco. And then my thought on the mainland here was to do 2 things. One is we're going to try and hit Karelia. We're going to send the fighters in the air. We'll map that out next. But I think we'll then send these 2 infantry at Bello. I don't think we can take a swing at these 4 infantry, which is annoying. I mean, we could with the tanks though, but I think I want the tanks for France, to be honest. And then we'll just have to fight back these 4 guys, right? He'll take both of these territories next turn. But the thought of hitting Bello and Karelia is if we can take Karelia, I don't think he has enough to take it back. Well, I mean, he has these, actually, he can hit it with all his tanks. He has 6 tanks. He has 2 infantry here in West Russia, and then the 2 fighters. I do need to be mindful of the defense of Germany too. He has 3 transports, so he can drop 6, 8 with the fighters. Germany will be fine. We're going to build 10, and these fighters will all need to land back in Germany anyways. So we're going to try and take this light. Bomber. We'll go into bellow. So what is this? This is a 2 infantry versus 2 infantry and a bomber. We'll probably need one of these fighters. The other 3 can go up with this attack, and then I do think then we'll need to take at least 1 tank. It's okay. That's why we buy the tanks. We got to use them. Use them or lose them. Just pray that the AA gun misses. I mean, if the AA gun hits, that's just such a kick in the balls. And actually, I totally forgot. We have a transport down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually can't use the bomber and the bellow attack. Oh, I hate this bellow attack. God, I wish I had an artillery with this infantry. Ah, dang it. Yeah, I think this is the best we can do. I'm just trying to think of sending this tank, a tank, in with bellow. And my idea with hitting bellow is that he only has these 2 infantry that he can then put in Karelia along with the American infantry tank, but he can take all these guys from England and move in and take Karelia with those guys as well, because we're not going to give him France, which means he can take those guys. I mean, that's what I would do, to be honest. I would take these guys, drop them in Karelia, hit them with everything you got here, the fighters. I just think we have to fight back. And if we can take Russian troops out, it's just going to help Japan, which our whole strategy right now is Japan hits and takes Moscow. We'll keep the tanks. We'll let this roll. We'll retreat if we get bad outcome here and just hope we get lucky. I think this is the best we can do. Yes, nice. We just miss. Ah. Oh, uh-oh. Right. Nice. Where's that everything? Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, dice were pretty good. I mean, the only bad dice we got was in bellow. We didn't hit anything, so I retreated. I wasn't gonna risk the fighter. So the infantry comes back into Poland. We'll bring fighter back into Germany. Bomber goes back to Germany. We took Morocco. I think we lost 1 guy in that, so really great. He just had bad defensive dice, especially in Karelia. I think we only lost 1 guy, 1 unit, so I didn't even need the tank. His AA guns missed, so that was a great outcome for us. Now I need to start calculating and doing the math on a few things. My initial thought is to bring the tanks into France. I don't think we're going to want to give them any free territories. So we're going to send 1 unit there, send 1 unit down south, and we have 1 infantry. So we have 1 infantry across the line. Can you? Yeah, okay. Actually, the bomber. So here's actually, I had this thought. I'm going to put the bomber in France. Because if he's going to leave these transports in 10 undefended, I'm going to snipe him. I can't allow him to do this if I have a chance to stack France. We'll probably want to send, what, maybe 3 more? Or no, actually, let's send 2. And then this infantry here in Italy can come into France. And then do we move these 5 guys into Baltic states? Okay, yeah, we'll send these guys into Baltic. I think they'll be safe there. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. We'll mobilize all we got into Germany. 2 artilleries, the infantry, and then 2 infantry into Italy. And that's gonna close us for Germany round number 4. See you guys back for Japan 4. Okay, Japan round 4. Take a look at what United Kingdom did last turn. They bought 3 infantry, bomber, aircraft carrier, and 1 artillery. Combat wise, they took the battle in Morocco. They destroyed our 2 infantry, 1 artillery, 1 tank. We took 2 of those though, infantry and artillery in defense, which is nice. Burma destroyed an infantry, so we're trading Burma. And mobilization, he put bomber, 2 infantry into India, aircraft carrier into Sea Zone 8, and mobilized an infantry and artillery into England as well. So for Japan, there's a couple things I'm thinking. One is that this idea to go after Africa has been defended. Putting the 2 British bombers here puts him in striking distance of the transport here and the battleship and the carrier. And I don't think that giving him that shot is a good idea. 2 reasons. One is I think it's like a 40% chance that he will win. And I think he's going to shoot that shot. I don't think he would have put the bomber there and not plan to use it. And even if we defend it, it's successful, what are these 2 guys really going to do? Sure, we're going to take, maybe 2 IPC here. Taking Madagascar is fun just because there's never really a chance for them to take it back. But these 5 guys here and these 7 fighters next door, it's only like a turn or 2 until those guys are dead and all that IPC's back in the British hands. And what did we gain from it? We gained 6 IPC, of holding these territories. We took 12 IPC from the British, and it came at the potential expense of a battleship and an aircraft carrier. So look, at the end of the day, I think this was a bad idea all along. Just a little too early. I should have just stuck with hitting New Zealand, then maybe pivoting up to Hawaii, start pestering and being annoying to the Americans, which is probably what we should pivot and do. So I think just need to call a spade a spade. It was a bad idea, but continuing through with a bad idea just for the sake of, hey, we already half committed our transport across the ocean, I don't think that's the right move. We need to admit we were wrong. We need to take these guys, turn them around, preserve the battleship and the carrier, and we lost 2 turns, out of those units, which is really unfortunate because we could have then hit this. We could have been hitting Hawaii this turn, so that was a bad play. That was a mistake. But for this turn, we're going to stick with our initial strategy of pumping as many units into the mainland as possible with Japan and start knocking on Russia's door and ask them, hey, what are you doing? Turn around. Pick on someone your own size, Russia. Japan is here. So we're going to buy 8 infantry, 1 artillery. That's going to load up the 3 transports we have, 3 units for Manchuria, and then we're going to get we're going to get another bomber. All right, we'll lock in that purchase. 8 infantry, 1 artillery, bomber. And as I alluded to, we're going to just start looking to trade some of these Russian territories and make him start spending guys. Additionally, we're going to send these 3 units, these 3, and then I'm going to send the tank because there's no reason not to. Everything else is going to roll up. We are going to... Well, actually, I don't think we need to use the artillery here. Let's use 2 infantry. And then all of these fighters can hit that. I want to get rid of the sub. So I'm going to go hit the sub. And what do we need? He has 2 bombers. So the battleship needs to stay. We can land 2 fighters on the carriers. Then we can send the sub with it. Maybe we send one of these fighters. We don't need all these fighters here. So 1, 2, 3. Oh no, we can't. We can send the bombers though, right? 1, 2, yeah. Yeah, we'll send the bombers. We'll spare Moscow this turn. So we have destroyer, sub, 1 bomber. We can bomb Russia with the other one. 6 fighters, which is just funny to say. And then those 4 will roll here. Those 5 will step up into Sinking. And that's going to cover all of our attacks with the Empire of Japan. Let's hop into it. Wow. Okay. Combat was fine. Bomber survived. We only rolled a 1 though. But hey, if anyone's rolling 1s when you're doing bombing a IC, better be me. better be me. I think all 6 of our fighters hit, or 5 of the 6. So of course we're gonna get an outcome like that when we don't need it. That is just how this game works. Transport, battleship, carrier, swing back to 39. These 6 fighters, we know we want 2 on the carrier. Let me just make sure I didn't land this on this stupid little island. Okay, yeah, it's a little different. Don't make that mistake. I've done it before. All right, 2 there. We'll move these 4 fighters here. These guys step up. These 5 are gonna step up. Bomber returns to, I guess we could send the bomber to Manchuria. This bomber will return, well, I guess there's no reason not to have it here. Well, I need to be careful because he has 7 fighters and the 2 bombers in India. If he has Kazakh, aka takes it back with the Russians, his next turn he can hit and then land in Kazakh with 7 fighters. And, you know, like these 9 guys, right? Which is probably in his interest to try and wipe all of our Japanese Air Force. So I need to make sure I'm counting and making sure that we have enough defense of our air. So let me redo all this. Let me redo everything here. All this stuff down here. Let's grab these units. So there's going to be 6 units in Yunnan. If we could put these 4 fighters here, I mean that's 10 versus 9. Could put the bomber back there. Yeah, we'll just thin this out. We'll send 3 units up, so we have 6 guys here. Then we'll put all the fighters there. Put the bomber there. And actually, just because I'm so worried about getting snake bit, we'll only send two infantry up. That is gonna do it for, just make sure we got everyone on Japan. Yes, we're good. It's gonna do it for Japan, round number 4. We'll mobilize our units. We'll put our bomber into Japan. We'll put artillery and infantry into Manchuria. All other infantry into Japan. And we will see you guys for Germany, round 5.
All right, Germany, round 5. See if we can get this one in before the end of the night. Go ahead and take a look at what the Allies did last turn. The Americans purchased 2 bombers, 3 infantries, 2 artilleries. And I think they mobilized the bombers into Norway. Interesting. 2 artilleries, 3 infantry into the eastern U.S. Guess he's planning to use the bombers. My thought is to get the troops over there, though. That's kind of the point of having the IC there. You can always have just 2 units just coming in every turn. But he wants the bombers for what I think is a big hit that he's planning next turn. So we'll have to see how we can deal with that. The Russians purchased 6 infantry, 1 tank. This guy loves building tanks, but we've been unable to punish him for building a lot of tanks thus far. And then he took Karelia. He destroyed 2 infantry, 1 tank, 3 artilleries, lost 3 infantry. So we have a shot on these 5 tanks, and I think we will be taking it. But first things first, we are going to buy 7 infantry, 3 artilleries. I could get 11 infantry, but I think getting 3 artilleries is still a pretty good idea at this point versus the 1 extra guy. I think we're going to try and start to really push out as Germany here, and we're going to need a couple artillery, but we can't do anything crazy like get fighters or tanks. We only have 33 IPC, I think it was, so we'll get 10 more guys. We'll lock in that purchase, and then let's map out our attacks. Now, one thing that is nice is he did not see the bomber in France. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to hold France, or at least plan to, because the bomber will need to land there again, but we can take these 2 transports, which is great. The immediate other thought is to take a swing at these 5 tanks. However, I do think if I do this, I need all 4 fighters. It's the only way that works. I would love to take a swing at these 2 infantry and the fighter here. I just don't think we have enough guys to do it, unfortunately. I think we will want to hit both of these in Northwest Europe and Bulgaria, Romania. That means we would send, let's just say, at least 2 in each of these. So I have to actually think through the moves that we're going to do now, because any guys we pull out of Germany potentially leaves us open for him to take these 6 transports, these 12 guys, and then hit Germany. Then he'd have 2 fighters, the 2 bombers. And I would love to possibly hold both of these, meaning France and Germany. Okay, yeah, it was just Quickly doing the math on both France and Germany, we can still hold both of them against the 6 transports. So I don't think we'll have to worry about that. But we do have to leave at least these 4 guys there. And then we need to bring these 2 guys into France. We'll move a tank and 2 AA guns into Germany. Maybe we'll actually just split these guys. I don't know. I'll think about that. But that means we have to keep these 4 guys there. So that's all we can do against those 2 spots. And I think I just try and dive and take Bello. And then we'll just leave Poland undefended. You can use those 2 guys to hit Bello. Step 1 into here and then do fighter, infantry into Bello. Either way, I'm not too scared of him just stepping into Poland and getting that for free. We'll take the money. That's gonna do it. That's gonna do it. I think we have covered everything. We will go ahead and lock that in. Strong, unlikely. Okay, we'll take 1 tank. Hit those 2 guys in Bulgaria, and then these 2 guys will go into France, and then everything should be good. 1 other tank into Germany. That should all hold. All right, now we lock it in. Now we're gonna lock it in. Don't make me sweat, come on. Oh, that's huge. That is so big. Love the infantry head. Love the infantry head. Didn't need the tank. Oh, actually, we didn't need the tank. Oh, the infantry head. Thank God for the infantry. Great. Combat was great. We took everything. Karelia's battle was a little sweaty. A little tighter. More tight. A lot more tight than I would have wanted. The first round was pretty even exchange, but we both kind of blanked. But the big win was he had 4 tanks that we got lucky and hit them all in round 2 because our fighters just hit like 3 out of 4 or something like that. They missed everything in defense. And we should have got at least 2, right? So having an additional 4 units there is huge. I don't think there's, unless he decides to land with the Americans there, which honestly is not a bad idea. I mean, he's got to do something. If he's not going to land those guys in France or Germany, land them up in Karelia, and then I can't get Karelia. But we got the tanks, so Russia at least lost those 5 tanks, which is huge. Bomber back to France, fighter back to France. 1 tank into Germany. 2 AA guns into Germany. These 2 infantry into France. And then we can send 1 guy into Poland. 13 infantry, tank, 4 fighters, 2 AA guns. And then we'll build everything in Germany. All right. That's going to close our turn for the Germans. So a very successful round of combat for us. We'll mobilize everything into Germany. And then we will plan back for Japan, round number 5.
Welcome back. Japan round 5. Take a look and see what the British did last turn. They purchased 1 infantry, 1 artillery, a bomber, a sub, and a tank. Combat-wise, they went into northwestern Europe, lost an infantry doing that. And they hit Burma, did not lose anybody. They have 2 units remaining there. And then mobilized the sub off the coast of India here, another bomber and a tank here, and then put 1 artillery, 1 infantry into the UK. So an interesting game developing here. He is going all in on fighting Japan with India. He's got a pretty formidable stack here. So if I close this, 5 infantry, artillery, tank, 2 Americans in here, but let's just focus on the British. 7 fighters, 3 bombers, and then he has 6 units coming behind from Africa. So this is going to become a problem for Japan, unfortunately. Additionally, the purchase of the sub now gives him an extra unit to hit C-Zone 61. Thankfully, the fighters can't hit. As long as we continue to trade Burma, we're not at risk of him, taking a territory here and have a spot for those to land. 1, 2, 3, and then, I would have to land in one of these coastal territories. So as long as we control those, we'll be all right from the fighters. But 3 bombers and a sub. So we need to constantly kind of be monitoring our fleet defense here. With those 4 units, we're going to bring the destroyer and the sub back. I'm going to bring this aircraft carrier
down off the coast of Australia here. There's no reason for that to be roaming the waters. Bring him back to 49 and then into 61, and we'll consider, landing some more fighters there. So that should hold us for a turn or two. It sucks that we have to divert attention off of Russia, but it is what it is. I don't think we can allow the British to get any momentum going with this stack of 10 aircraft. That is a lot of air. And it's scary because he can just sacrifice that on something and throw a Hail Mary and try to turn the tide. And that exact thought is what's going through my mind and potentially trying to stack Kazakh. If we do it now. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just talk about purchase. We're going to just reload the units in Manchuria, the 3 transports for Japan. So we're going to get 6 infantry, 1 artillery. We'll get 2 tanks, and we'll get 1 fighter. Because I have a feeling I'm going to need the fighter either for defense or to possibly help rebuild our Air Force if he just throws everything he has at our fighters and any units we have with it. That's the logic with the purchase. Go ahead and lock that in. For attacks, let's just kind of run through my initial thoughts here. We want to take Burma back. So we can send, let's just do 2 for now. Up north here, I do think I want to hit these 3 infantry and then take these 2 territories. There's a couple ways to do this. It's kind of annoying to have to blitz and then leave this territory for him to blitz next turn. We'll probably lose the tank, but I think this is a good trade for us to take out 4 more Russians, get some more IPC, and continue to try to chip away at what he's doing here, especially if he's going to keep building tanks. I mean, he needs to be building infantry, as the Russians really can't have enough bodies, in my experience. All that to say, here is one option. Blitz here, hit this one guy. Let's just say we take 1 infantry in case he hits back. Artillery, and then we have, 4 infantry here? Let's just say we do this and that. So we have 1 extra guy in each of these, 2 extra guys in this one. I don't think I want to use these 2 guys because I want to run the math on trying to stack Kazakh. Now this bomber can assist in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, yeah, any of these, which is nice. So let's send him to the far one. Now I think this bomber can hit Burma. We'll have to land in Szechuan. The reason the bomber goes to Burma is because I was thinking of using these 4 fighters to 1-2 into Novo and then land in Kazakh. This bomber can hit Novo. And I don't want to use these 2 fighters because I think I want to fly and land them to Kazakh. So what can we get into Kazakh? I'm not worried about the Russians, but he could 1-2 us with trying to take a few hits with these, 11, 12 units, and then sending all of his air and 1 tank. All right, so against the air alone, let me send 1 tank, but I don't think it's going to change anything. 0% chance he could take everything there. And even if I add in the Russians here and I allow him 2 opportunities to hit this stack in Kazakh, he can't do it. The question then becomes, if I take these 2 fighters off the fleet in 61, do the sub and 3 bombers have a legitimate threat at sub, destroyer, cruiser, carrier, battleship? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits with the battleship, 6 to wipe, and he'll have 4 shots. My gut tells me no, but we probably would leave 1 fighter just to be safe. Unfortunately, I can't mobilize my fighter on that carrier to begin with. So if I remove 1 fighter, it doesn't do much to our stack in Kazakh. So we'll leave 1 fighter here in 61. Everything else will go into stack Kazakh. We'll hit these 2 territories, shift these guys up, figure out what we want to do with the bombers next turn. Oh, and I cannot forget, we have infantry artillery on this, right? Yeah, we're going to hit New Zealand. We'll bombard with the battleship. Carrier will then come to, 49? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 49, and he'll rejoin the fleet in 61 next turn. All right, I like it. Let's let it rip. We should put another infantry here. Oh, that's lucky. That's beautiful. Oh, infantry on fire. Very nice. All right, combat was awesome. I think we lost maybe 2 guys. I did realize we maybe should have put another infantry into Burma. We only had the 2 versus the 2 and the bomber, so we got lucky there. We got him on 1 round. Everywhere else was very good. So let's go ahead and get our Kazakh stock here going. We will take, oops, I gotta close you. Take this tank, and then we'll have 4 fighters. 1 of the fighters from the carrier. While we're doing carrier, we'll move the destroyer sub back. That fleet's protected. While I'm here, I'm not gonna forget. We have 6 units we're gonna pick up, bring back, and then drop into Yunnan. These 2 guys are gonna come up, right? Carrier's coming up to 49. Just double check that the sub 1, 2 cannot hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Yeah, the bombers can't hit. These 3 units are going to come down. And then we might as well send these bombers into Kazakh. I don't see any reason why not. Quick spot check, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Everyone's rolling up towards Moscow. We got the guys off Japan. We got the guys rolling from the IC in Manchuria. We got all the boats back into C-Zone 61. And I think that'll cover us for Japan in our non-combat. We will get our deployment sorted. Fighter into Japan, 2 tanks into Manchuria. Send 1 artillery there, is that? No, let's send the artillery with the infantry in Japan. Put an infantry there. And then the rest of that infantry goes into Japan. And that's a good turn with Japan. I like it. I feel good about that one. We'll see how things are looking when we get back for Germany round number 6. All right, Germany round number 6. Take a look at what the Americans did. They bought 2 bombers, 2 transports, 1 infantry. They're all in on building bombers in Norway, which is an interesting play. I'm kind of flirting with the idea of just sending all my fighters at it, but they got a more important fish to fry right now. But I don't know, the more I think about it, that's maybe a pretty good move. We'll think about it when we start mapping our combat. They are using those bombers to bomb the absolute crap out of Berlin. We did not take any bombers, unfortunately. We're down to -12, which is a big bummer. And then they went, 2v1 in Burma and ended up losing an infantry and then retreated. So I don't hate that play, to be honest. It would have exposed the tank to take a shot at these guys if that's what he was trying to do, or just simply trade with the Americans or maybe get lucky and take that territory and spare another infantry or 2 for the British. So I understand the logic, but we got lucky. The Russians went ahead and purchased 6 infantry, 2 anti-aircraft artilleries. I was very worried about me taking all my air and sending it into Moscow. Not every day that you see an anti-aircraft purchase, but I get the logic. Can't necessarily say it's a bad move. We will see if we can punish it. And that's 10 IPC. You could have gotten 3 more infantry and 2 more infantry and an artillery. So that's probably what I would have spent it on. What are we gonna do with Germany? I think this is the best way to max our purchase. We can get 9 infantry. We can build enough back in Germany for the factory to mobilize 4 units, which would leave us 2 units to deploy to Karelia, 4 for Germany, 3 for Italy. We probably want to, I guess the Americans non-commed these 6 units in Northwestern Europe. Why he's not just sending all of them somewhere is a little beyond me. And then he also left these transports exposed again. So we'll take these additional 3 transports with the bomber. I guess maybe he was confused about how we hit the transports there in the turn prior. I would have thought for sure he would at least send 2 of these destroyers. It's not like you need them all there to send a battleship with it. Or he forgot to do it. I don't know. It's either he's not aware of how I hit him last turn, or he just simply forgot. And forgetting is much more likely to be true. I do that all the time. So we'll get 9 more infantry. I think we're just going to need to continue to churn bodies with Germany at the moment. I like it. So we know we're going to take the transports. That's a no-brainer. He's got these 7 guys here. I don't think there's any reason not to hit them. The only alternative is for us to try and take a swing with these 4 or 5 fighters. Could these guys hit? 1, 2, 3, and they could, and then we can land. Oh no, we can't land there. I was thinking maybe we could take the territory and land, but I don't think that's how it works. Does that mean we can't attack Northwest? Let's just quickly map out Northwest Europe. Now, the thing about the transports, he moved these 3 back, and he obviously dropped some guys already. We only need to protect against, what, 6 guys? If we hit the bombers, but it's 11, right? It's 11 he can hit us with, assuming we don't hit any of the bombers. So that's like worst case scenario. Obviously, we're hoping we do a little better than that. So I think I'm going to try to make that work. I think we want to try and take advantage of these bombers defending at a 1. Buy us some time to rebuild our Berlin factory. But I do want to try and still hit this stack in Northwestern Europe. And I think that means we maybe consider sending 3 infantry from here. Let's say 4 from France. I would love to avoid using tanks, but we maybe need to use 1. We're building 4 units in Germany. This 14 should hold. Probably need to take a tank, huh? The reality is he's probably not going to have all the bombers. So he's likely going to have 6, 7, 8, 9 with the bomber. Let's just say 1 survives if we get really bad dice. We should be able to defend that with 14. That should be more than enough. Now I do need the bomber to land back in France. We can't give France because we're not building guys in France. I think the only option is to take the tank in Germany. That's going to give us 8 against those 7. Not great. We'll come back to this calculus because it's starting to hurt my head a little. Move everything here into Ukraine. We take this infantry as well. And then with these guys, my initial thought was to move everything into West Russia. The other thought is to do something like this and just force Russia to try and trade with us. Come back to this Northwest Europe. These 4 I want to hit here. Oh, and this guy can't hit? 1, 2. Oh, yeah, because we need... yeah, duh. Okay, so it's actually only 4 we can send. Is that stupid? Unlikely. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the right move is. So I think what I'm going to do is not try and hit what's sitting here in Norway. What we will do though is we will move 2 guys in here. Because if I can then get that same shot, if he builds like another bomber or something, or 2 bombers, that would be obviously very advantageous to have some infantry to absorb some hits. Calculator said 4 fighters versus those 5 units, 70% chance. But I'd lose 2 to 3 fighters. And I don't think losing the fighters right now is the correct play. That does give us some flexibility in regards to what we do in Northwest Europe though. We can send, say, 1 artillery. Let's make this actually 2. Come on, cancel. Oh my god. 2. Send these 4 because I still think that's okay. Well, maybe we'll do 3 this time. I think we just need to match them and then send all our fighters because they're not needed anywhere else. So we're at 5. We'll send 1 of you, and then we'll send 1 of you. No tanks are going in. All of the fighters. That should be enough. I think this is good. But you guys tell me. We're going to lock that in and forever hold our peace. Oh my god, that's brutal. Pretty good defense in Northwestern Europe. Got 5 of our guys in round 1, but he blanked in round 2. So it kind of spared us from a very, very poor outcome. Go ahead and take the bomber back. I think we want all 5 of the fighters here. Send the extra tank here. There's going to be 10 infantry, 5 tanks, a bomber. Maybe we'll send the AA gun in here. And the only reason being is we defend at 4s on the fighters. So I think we have a better defense here in Germany. I mean, I don't think it's a high probability play for him, but it's not the craziest thing in the world. If he just wanted to take these 6 guys and just kamikaze them into into Germany with 5 aircraft. Unlikely, but not the craziest thing. I've seen crazier, I'll put it that way. This guy seems like he might be open to crazy ideas the way he's been playing. I don't think we can spare any guys going east, unfortunately. So we'll build our 2 guys in Karelia. Go ahead and close this out. And get these guys on the board. Just max out everywhere. 9 new infantry. Love it. Alright, that's going to do it for Germany round 6. We'll see you guys. Oh, look at this. Back up to 39. That's huge. We'll see you guys for Japan 6. Welcome back for Japan round 6. Take a look at what... Oh, well, here's a quick catch of the score. Very slight lead. I always click on the wrong one there. The UK last turn. They bought 1 sub, 2 bombers, 1 infantry. And what is... He's just buying sub and bombers every round. Another bomber. Yeah, I don't know. Very, very interesting purchases. He's obviously very focused on trying to take a shot at taking out our fleet. He's just going to continue to build fleet or subs and bombers until he has enough he thinks he needs to take a shot and take that out. I don't think it's a bad idea. That obviously would cripple all of our progress with Japan. So we got to keep an eye on that. I don't think he did any real combat, or he did a little bit, but he took Finland. And then Burma, he stepped in and lost an infantry on the exchange there. And things are shaping up for a very, very interesting turn for Japan. One that I think, may make or break the game if we don't handle this the right way. Now, what I'm thinking is we're not going to be in a position to take Moscow, unfortunately. Even with the amount of pressure we have on it right now, he just has way too many fighters. So taking Moscow's out of the question because I don't think we have enough to hold any of these territories. I don't think we could stack Kazakh because he can just send just a handful. Like he has 5 units here with 5 bombers and 7 fighters. So there's nearly nothing we can do while there are units in India or in the Middle East coming up to hold territory in and around Moscow because the British can just send a fucking million planes at it. So because stacking the territory around Moscow is off the table, the obvious alternative is to go after India. And I think we have enough to do it, but you got to bear with me because the permutations get a little confusing. But the purchase is a critical piece of this. So we're going to get 2 infantry and a tank just to keep the factory in Manchuria running. And then we're going to get crazy. I don't know if I've ever done this before. We're going to buy 3 bombers. Because the bombers can hit India 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if we hold Burma. And if you follow where this is going, we would step in hard with these 6 infantry into Burma. We would drop another 6 here in Yunnan. We'd have the transports here to take these guys over. And then I'm thinking we're going to take this small stack we have here in Kazakh. We're going to hit these units in Persia. And if we get lucky and all goes well, I mean, you don't have to get too lucky, but we just can't have an abysmal outcome in really either of those, or in any of the possible attacks the British can do. I think we'd have enough to take India. So on the defensive, what I'm calculating that we need to be able to take, and looking at this guy, I think he's probably likely to do this, especially with his next purchase, are these 5 infantry, the AA gun, the 5 bombers, the 1 tank. We're going to wipe these guys, so there's no additional units he can reinforce with. But he's going to buy 3 fighters and then bring these 7 British fighters, the 2 American fighters. That gets him to 12. If he adds the Russian fighters, to be honest, I don't think we'd have enough. That's me essentially assuming that he's going to need those to hit some of these territories around Russia. And he'd prefer to do that with those 2 fighters versus... I mean, well, he could probably hit here with 2 of them, to be honest, and then fly him down. So it doesn't include the Russian fighters, but if he includes the Russian fighters, I don't think there's a chance that we have to take it. And to be honest, we're going to need probably a good result on this stack that we pull down. Oh, yeah, it's just the math is just getting harder and harder. We would need how many of these guys? Let's say we send 2 guys here. We'll send the other 8 down on 5. How many do we need to survive? Let's just say half survive. That means there'd be
2 artilleries, 1 tank, and then 2 infantry. And let's say he doesn't hit this, which I think he would. Honestly, he might just take a shot with the tank and just send all his air. I don't know why he wouldn't do that. So if we lose half the guys on our attack into Persia and have them available to hit India, and he does not take the Russian fighters, looks like we have a 93% chance to survive. Now the only complication within all that, right? Sounds good, right? It's like, okay, just we can't lose half our guys when we hit Persia. I think he would be kind of silly to not hit this with the tank and all of his air. It's only going to be 4 guys, right? And we're likely to not get many hits, right? We could get 1 hit, and without those 4 guys, we can't do it. Oh, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Yeah, we can't do it. 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 We need these extra units. We need these 4 or 5 extra guys. I think it's just 4. That's all we need. We can play it safe, you know, kind of pull back, take Caucasus, maybe lightly hit this attack in Persia just to thin those guys out, and then take a step back from Kazakh, and then just let the reinforcements continue to turn. Trade Burma again. Redo our purchase. Obviously, we don't need 3 bombers. We'd want to reload the transports. Honestly, we probably need to get another transport if we're serious about trying to take India. Okay, I think I've made up my mind. Because with correct play, India is not under a serious threat next turn. We're just going to bump our ETA on India by 1 turn. So that means we're going to do a couple things with the purchase. We're going to buy a transport. We're going to get 4 infantry, 4 artilleries for these 4 transports. And we're going to build 2 tanks in Manchuria. Yeah, that should work. And that maxes our purchase. So as I had enough to do, I think, a transport and, you know, some combination of infantry, but we can't mobilize that many because the transport takes up one of our mobilization slots. But I think this is fine. We'll take a couple tanks on the mainland. That's no big deal. We can use the good units. Transport, no bombers or anything this time. But then next round, I mean, we're going to get 4. We're going to get another 6, 7 IPC, potentially 8. We're going to buy a shit ton of bombers, and then we're going to take India. And I don't think there's anything he could do to stop that. I mean, unless he sends just literally every aircraft he has on the map over in the next turn. Like, he sees the writing on the wall. So that's what we're going to set up to do. We're going to lock that in. 4 infantries, 4 artilleries, 2 tanks, 1 transport. We're going to send at least 2 guys here into Burma. We're going to send this plane from the fighter because he's going to come back. We do need to make sure we bring this carrier up. Stack 4 fighters here in C-Zone 61. So I'll try to remind myself not to mess that up. This bomber can probably join that as well. Now I'm thinking we will send... Yeah, let's just send an artillery and an infantry into Caucasus. And then my thought was to do something like this. 2. And then what we would need, let's say at least 3, right? So that gets us 5v5. And then we can hit with all of these fighters, or no, only 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we need 2 to land here. We can split these 2 bombers. 1 go here, 1 go here. So we can get 4 aircraft on that. Just to be safe, I'm going to send 1 more. Now these guys just need to take this with all we got. And we're obviously going to take a pause on Russia. So I'm just going to leave this guy here. We'll make sure we leave 1 infantry here. We'll move the tank back, all the air. And I think that's all we can do. We'll be gearing up for a big bomb, hopefully to drop on India very soon. I just feel like that's maybe scared, but again, just please would love to get some thoughts from people on this. I wonder if this is too passive. And I should have continued to just put the pressure on. I don't know. Well, we've already sealed our fate with the purchase. So like I said, 2 fighters need to come back because this fighter and this fighter will be here for the carriers. So we can send 3 fighters here. These 2 bombers. Let's split them. Make sure I don't mess up and bomb the factory.
And we cannot forget about these guys. We will go ahead and take Hawaii here. Hit that. Take the battleship. I think that's going to cover us on attacks here. So let's take a look. Let's see what the calculators say. Strong, 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 strong. Let's let it ride. Hawaii first. Nice, nice. Love that. Oh, yeah. That's huge. That's not good. In the last turn. Damn it, that's a big outcome. Ooh. Oh my god, come on. Thank you. Yeah, now he is. Alright, I mean, combat was pretty good. I can't complain. But the general logic was with just hitting these 5 guys is he's always going to be in an attack advantage, right? So I'm never going to have an opportunity to hit guys on the defensive because he's going to have just such overwhelming force. When there are some units without fighters and bombers and all that stuff protecting them, we got to take our shot then to thin out the actual troops. Because if he's just going to continue to build subs and bombers, you do need guys to take and capture territory. So my idea is just to thin him out there because we're building way more land units. But yeah, that's the idea. I need to take his physical land units off the board when I have the chance to with my air, because he's going to take me every time with just the overwhelming force he has with his air. So bombers, go here. Before I forget, we're going to send these to the fleet. I could already see myself starting to forget to do this. These 4 fighters need to come back. This carrier comes up. Now we should have plenty to protect ourselves against those bombers and the subs. These 3 guys are going to come here. These 3 guys are coming down. This tank's coming. Bomber will come over here as well. We'll keep 1 infantry here. These infantry, I guess I can go. It's probably best to send them to 2. So we're going to lose the north here, but I think it's fine. Again, we're going to give Russia some time to get back into the game while we try to get India. We've done quite a bit of damage on Russia here. We bought some time for Germany. I hope that's enough. I hope it's enough. 2 tanks come into this territory here. Now we cannot forget to take the guys off the mainland. Everything over here in the Yunnan. And we'll see how this works out. Again, I think there's a response for him. Potentially 10 units that we can put into the Burma. I mean, he could wipe that. He could easily wipe that with these guys and then these infantry. But the question is, and I haven't run the math on this, if he does do that, takes all his infantry out in the process of doing that, he's going to risk obviously a lot of his air. We should be able to take these 8 guys and just hop around. Drop them into India with all the air. And we'll see if that's enough. We had to just pick a lane and go for it. I mean, at the end of the day, this isn't going to kill our game. Now I'm triple second guessing, triple, quadruple, pentuple guessing. I mean, should I be continuing to push? We could put more guys here. No, I've already committed. I can't think about it. Spent, geez, almost 45 minutes. So yeah, I mean, it won't be 45 minutes for you guys, but I think I spent about 45 minutes thinking through and all of the different options and his response to this idea and that idea and this purchase. And that's a fun part of this game, though. I mean, there's some people who get a little frustrated and they say this game gets a little repetitive. Axis always win. I don't know, man. Look at this. Just look at all this movement. But maybe I'm overcomplicating it. It's getting late. I need to get to bed. All right, we shall see how this goes. Go ahead and mobilize. Take our 1 transport here. 2 tanks into Manchuria. Artillery, infantry into Japan. Oh, and then 1 infantry. We'll go with this guy. Beautiful. All right. We will see you guys for Germany round 6. All right. Welcome back for Germany round 7. Take a look and see what the Allies were up to last turn. United States bought 7 infantry, 2 tanks, 1 destroyer. Put the 2 tanks into Norway. They finally moved their fleet back to cover the transports in Sea Zone 10. So they learned their lesson there. They did hit Karelia. They destroyed 2 infantry, lost 1 tank and 1 fighter. So
That's a pretty expensive exchange, but we will take it. For us, that's great news. The Russians, in turn, purchased 5 infantry, 1 artillery. He's beginning to beef up his army again. We kind of knew that. We knew taking Japan to focus on India would mean that Russia's going to have a couple turns to rebound, and we just don't have enough guys to put pressure on Russia with Germany. So we're going to have to fight back, but that was to be expected. They pretty much just kind of lashed out on all the surrounding territories. I think we owned all of these around them last turn. So they took Caucasus, Kazakh, Novo, and Vologda. He bombed the absolute crap out of Berlin again. And I'm just going to say this. What are we doing as Germany? Spending all this money on air defense infrastructure and we can't hit anything? He sent how many? He sent 5 bombers to Germany and we couldn't hit one. One! And now Berlin is burning. And it's just, that's really just annoying, to be honest. We're not really under a threat, any serious threat with Germany, but it's just so annoying. I can't really buy much, which is a nice segue into what we would do for our purchase. So I think I have to spend 11 IPC just to be able to build 1 unit. So that's a kick in the dick. And if we're not careful, that can become a problem. The only thing I'm not too stressed about is, yeah, he has 10 guys here that he can, bang into France or Northwestern Europe, or what's more likely at this point is to just bring them around into Scandinavia. But he doesn't have anything behind that. So that means we're going to buy 2 infantry, 3 artillery. We can put 2 of those into Karelia, 3 into, wait, I don't think I did the math here right. We don't need to spend on, oh, duh, because I forgot I'm going to buy a fighter. That's because I think I'm going to hit these 4 units with our Air Force. Take out one of his fighters, one of his bombers. I thought about going after this fleet here. The only issue is that I have to land the guys in Iceland, and then he can drop all 10 of these guys. So no, I don't think I'm going to do that. And at the end of the day, taking out 1 transport is not going to make or break my game. The English are not really doing anything other than building bombers and subs off the coast of India. So that doesn't seem like a good play. We can instead take out at least one of these stinking bombers that is just blowing up things in Berlin. So that's the purchase plan. We'll hopefully begin to rebuild Berlin. Be able to drop some more units next turn. As I mentioned, I think I want to hit with these 5 fighters. And I don't think the bomber has anything useful to do. It could come into the Caucasus, because I do think I want to take that. Let's see what the Caucasus looks like. We'll put this guy from West Russia, the artillery. I mean, that would probably be good, right? A bomber would be nice, though. And using the bomber, 1, 2, no, bomber can't come back, though. And based on how this guy's playing, I think I want the bomber perusing all of these open seas in the Atlantic. So that means we'll have to cross our fingers on the Caucasus. Send the bomber after those 4 guys in Finland. And I think that's all we can do for attacks with the Germans. So we'll lock that in. And we'll let it run. Lock it. Here's this. That's what I'm talking about. I'm red. Fire. No way, Lance. No way, Lance. All right, combat was good. We had to sweat it out a little bit, but it was good. The results were good. We did lose a fighter in the attack on Finland, which is why I am happy I bought another one. So we are at least maintaining parity with our existing Air Force. These 2 guys, will stay here in the Ukraine. This guy's coming back to Karelia. And now here's where I have to start thinking about how many guys I want to send in where. He can bang 10 guys in here with the 3 bombers. So that's like 13. We'll probably want to just send these 3 guys here. The artillery will come back to Germany. Get that out of Northwest. The tank I'm going to leave in Ukraine. I just thought about putting it in Karelia. He's obviously going to take West Russia, though. And if I want a chance at taking Ukraine or Caucasus next turn, we'll probably require the services of said tank. Now, how many guys can we spread out? I mean, Germany's under no threat at the moment. So we can send as much as we like in either direction, assuming, and they can always come back, right? Like, there's literally no threat. He's got 2, I mean, there's some. We're not going to just leave it empty. He can only land 1 infantry with the 2 fighters on Germany.
So yeah, we are free to send these and split these guys and send them pretty much wherever we want. Let's send 5 each way. That'll give us 3 infantry, the AA, and we'll send the AA to France. And if he's gonna get crazy, drop those bombers on us. They clearly don't help hit bombers doing complex bombing runs, so might as well throw it in France. Yeah, we have all the fighters, and when he lands these guys back, if we have to spend all of our IPC rebuilding our factories, we can obviously move these guys back to help defend Germany if we need them to. All right, that's gonna close Germany in our non-combat. Now we can mobilize our massive army that's been waiting in the wings of these 5 units. Put the fighter into Germany, 2 artillery into Karelia, and then artillery, 2 infantry into Italy. And that's going to close our turn. We'll see you guys back for Japan, round 7. All right, and it may all come down to this. Japan, turn 7. Quickly take a look at what the UK did last turn. They purchased a bomber, a sub, tank, 2 infantry, 1 artillery. Combat-wise, he went ahead and hit these units in Persia. Didn't take any return hits, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I expected him to do that. And then he mobilized tank and bomber into India, 1 sub off the coast of India, and then the 2 infantry and artillery to the UK. So I'd say it all comes down to this, because I think I spoke too soon on another turn, about these American fighters. We're obviously not in a position to hit India just yet. Or maybe I should actually quickly run that. I'm actually curious to see what this would look like just to try to hit this. I still don't think we have enough, but I'll take a look. Yeah, as expected, our chance to take this setup as is only about, 65%. So, I mean, it's over 50-50. But with what I'm planning to do, the chances of us not taking India, I think, is about 5% with no matter really whatever he responds with. Of essentially these, I think, are basically like 2 end outcomes, or like 2 paths that we can go down. Each of them are between 5 and 6% outcome of everything happening in a positive way that he would end up with the result that he kept India. Now, all the pieces will be off the board in Asia, so we're gonna have to then regroup. So let's start with the purchase. We're gonna buy 2 infantry and 4 bombers, which is crazy. And it's risky because we obviously are gonna be on the back foot, committing everything that we have on the board to India. We're not gonna have any real reinforcements, coming up from behind us. And my thoughts are, as long as we hold Burma, those 4 bombers can participate in the next turn. If we stack everything into Burma, we'll go ahead and drop these guys here into Yunnan. Whether he hits Burma and takes out everything we have here, or he decides to go after the fleet to try and take out the transports, the bombers. It's worth noting I am planning to try and take out these subs this turn, so we'll send the sub destroyer and some air to take those 3 out. And in each of those battles, whether he hits with everything he can into Burma, or he sends the 6 bombers at the fleet, assuming we get all 3 subs, we have great odds to win both of those. And even if he gets a great outcome in either of these, my odds to still take India with the stack of units that we have in Burma and the bombers from Japan, or taking our 4 transports and all of our air, obviously all of our air is assumed in all this. I'm hoping we have some bombardments as well. I have about a 60% chance, or I think it's up to 70% chance if the stack in Burma survives. You guys can get the gist of what I'm doing. We're gonna stack Burma. We're gonna have our fleet here with 4 transports, no matter what he hits. And he has to do one. If he doesn't do either, then we obviously will take India. There's nothing he could do. But he either hits Burma or he hits this, and our odds are still in our favor that we can take Japan or India. And the odds are that he can't even actually take either of these. So this is worst case outcome. So I'll run through the math on each of those scenarios of, okay, he hits Burma, and then what do we have to take India? He hits this C-zone. What do we have to take India? But we'll do that once we go through our combat moves. So let me lock in the 2 infantry for Manchuria, 4 bombers for Japan.
So the combat I was thinking, as I alluded to, was sub and destroyer. I know these 4 fighters, 1, 2, will all participate simply because they can return back here or they can land in Burma. Now I think these 3 fighters, that leaves the 3 bombers that we can also send at the fleet here, which honestly I think should be our priority, but I was kind of kicking tires on doing this. Unfortunately, the tanks need to come to Burma. The subs defended a 3, so I think we could do it. To be safe, because I think getting the subs, honestly, is probably critical. That's the most important. These 3 units are not. We'll send another bomber at those 3 subs. We'll send these 2 bombers at those 3 units. And then we can't forget about our guys out here in Hawaii. So I really wish this battleship was back. I was kind of kicking myself looking at this, because obviously if we could put another battleship in here, that he has 0% chance to hit the fleet. So we're giving him a little counterplay to make things complicated. But we'll go ahead and we'll hit Alaska with these guys. I don't think there's any reason to really stress about getting this battleship back, because we're either taking India next turn or we're not. And if we decide either A, this fleet's been wiped, right? Or we decide not to attack with this fleet for whatever reason, like the dice were just terrible for us, we're going to have to retreat anyways. And there's no reason not to, because we're not going to have any units to pick up anywhere. So yeah, bomber's not really, or battleship, I don't think is required. So I think that will do it for our attacks with the Japanese. Lock that in. And what we really need is this battle against the subs to go well. So fingers crossed he doesn't just triple snake eyes us. Triple snake eyes, that doesn't make sense. Take a sub. Nice. Actually, keeping the destroyer there is actually huge. Well, maybe not. You can just hit it there. There we go. Wow, 2 4s. All right, combat was good. For a second, I was thinking this destroyer here was, surviving it was really beneficial for us. And my thought is the reason it might be valuable is because it deters him from building any fleet here in 35 if we have the destroyer there. At least I think. I don't think you can build and mobilize boats if I have units in that sea zone. But he's going to have to send some air to take care of that, right? Which takes air off of either hitting the fleet or hitting this. And if he doesn't, that means this attack with these transports, with the additional battleship cruiser bombardment, just helps, right? It gives us a little extra advantage. All right, we'll come back to these fighters, but we're going to get everything back, moved into Burma. All these tanks, the bombers, these 3 fighters, 11 infantry, 2 artilleries, 1 tank. Now, my thought here is 1 fighter, and then 3 go back to the fleet. We'll move these guys down. We'll move these 2 tanks down. This infantry, move this guy down. We're going to build 2 infantry here. We'll have these 2 infantry we can come back and put here. So we'll be able to block him, or we can even land them there, right? We'll be able to block the tank from, trying to come in here and swipe Manchuria or something crazy. Oh, and I actually fucked this up. God dang it. I needed one of these infantry to come down into Yunnan because we only have 3 here. Oh my God. I even made a mental note of that. I mean, that might change some things. I'll have to let's just get these guys down into Yunnan first. Get these 3 transports back. Oh, that's brutal. God dang it. That was so short-sighted. I just got so excited about hitting these 3 guys. Oh. But I think we'll be okay, because the odds are still, I think, very strongly in our favor. But that was an error, but we'll be all right, I hope. All right, so what are we doing here? So Burma. If he sends everything he has into Burma, let's take a quick look at that. He can send 3 infantry, 3 tanks, 7 fighters, 6 bombers into Burma. We have 13 infantry, 2 artilleries, 3 tanks, 4 fighters, 3 bombers. His chance to take Burma, I shouldn't even say take Burma, but just wipe everything that we have in there, is about 11%. Obviously not good odds for him, And if he does do that, it's going to essentially cost everything he has, all of his air, all of his land units. So I don't think that he could do that, because the plan, obviously, was to then take these, well, now 7 units, because I messed that up, drop these guys in here with the 4 bombers. Now that assumes he doesn't take the territory. And according to this, he has obviously a 0% chance to take it, because the calculator doesn't assume he's taking hits on his fighters or his bombers. He'd have to leave a tank available to take the territory. I don't think he would do that. That's a ton of IPC to throw down the drain, start taking fighters. And I still think I like my odds in the long run, because we'll have taken out pretty much all of his Air Force, and we'll quickly rebuild. We have like 55 IPC. It'll take us a turn or two, but I think in the long run, we'll be able to eventually take India in a turn or two. So again, all that, Burma, he has about a 11% chance to actually clear Burma. And I guess, yeah, if he takes his hits the right way, it's roughly the same thing. He has about like a 10%, 11% chance to actually take it. We'd still have a potential shot on India with just those 7 guys. Without the bombers, our odds of taking this are pretty low. So we couldn't take it. So if he actually takes Burma, he's defended India. If he doesn't, then we can land in Burma. Let's just say we trade everything, but our bombers that we're buying can land in Burma. We have a 90% chance to take. So again, 11% chance for him to defend India if he hits Burma is simply the way to look at it. Because if he doesn't, then he has, I guess, a 10% chance after that. So he's rolling, the dice twice to get a 1 out of 10, essentially, right? Now the other option is to send the 6 bombers after the fleet here and then try and defend against everything that's coming from Burma and the bombers from the mainland. So we have 1 battleship cruiser, 2 aircraft carriers, 3 fighters against 6 bombers. He has a 14% chance to take everything out and survive to actually kill the transports. The takeaway is 14% chance to actually take out the fleet. Now, let's just say he does that. He has 1 bomber remaining, gets the transports, and then he sends everything back to India. We would then be attacking with 13 infantry, 2 artilleries, 3 tanks, 4 fighters, 7 bombers. He could defend with 5 infantry, 3 tanks, 14 fighters, and he'd have 1 bomber in this scenario. And he has an AA gun. I haven't forgotten that, just for what it's worth. In either of these calculations, he's got the AA gun too. Our chance to take that is about 70%. So how did we get to all these fighters? Well, I'm assuming he's going to do everything he can. That means he's going to build 3 fighters, get him to 10. He's going to fly the American and the Russian fighters down. That gets him to 14. He moves these guys back. He moves the infantry back. He moves the tank back. And if he does all that, we still have 70% chance to take everything with the stack in Burma and the bombers. So that's the logic. And if I run that through a probability calculator of both A and then B occurring for both of these scenarios, both of the results are about between 5 and 6%. Between 5 and 6% chance that both of those could occur. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the right way to do probability. So if you guys are mathletes, let me know. Obviously, the extra calculation on that needs to be done with whatever the results of the first fight was, right? So if he gets a really good outcome hitting Burma and has a lot more fighters still left or bombers, whatever, that's going to change the calculus, right? But from a high level theoretical perspective, I think this is a good shot to shoot, which is why we're doing it. So I hope that made sense. I'll do my best to try and summarize that with some on-screen graphics and all that stuff. Hopefully, as you have already seen this, the math and the calculus is kind of added up. So I hope that all makes sense. I hope the logic around what I'm trying to do makes sense. You're able to follow the general idea. And let me know if you agree. I think it's the right move. I think the math is done well enough. It tells me that this is a good idea, that it's very unlikely that any of these things happen. And it requires him to play and respond optimally. So if I were him, he has to try to hit Burma. I think that's the only thing he can do. If he tries to hit the fleet or do anything else, if he tries to just hold it and stack it, that's not going to work. So he's got to find the play to hit Burma, and then he's got to get a great result. I could be right, I could be wrong. You guys tell me. But that's the idea for Japan. we'll go ahead and lock all this in. I don't think there's anything else for me to do. We'll close out the non-com. And then we will get our bomber fleet going in Japan. We have 2 more infantry in Manchuria. And then we will see how we look after the US-Russian turns, and see you all back in Germany round 8. Germany round numero 8. Take a look at what the Allies did last turn. United States bought 2 transports, 3 subs, and a destroyer, and you're probably wondering, where are the boats? Where did they deploy them? They went off the west coast and they're coming for Japan, baby. Very interesting move. Don't know if I've seen the United States switch focus from east to west in round 8 in a game that you're losing attack power wise. It's a lot of IPC to begin to start putting in the water. Japan has quite a head start on you as well. It'd be interesting if he tries to hit the fleet with all the bombers and then just say he's gonna build US fleet. Not sure. We'll see what he continues to do here and how that plays out. We'll obviously lose Hawaii. We'll lose Alaska, but we'll take these guys off. We got to turn and fight these Russian tanks, unfortunately. The US, I believe they tried to hit Karelia. Yeah, they tried to hit Karelia, and we had a great outcome. Lost 2 tanks. We didn't lose anything. So artillery stood real firm. He retreated with the fighters back to Russia. Now, these fighters then, in turn, did not go to India, which is huge for Japan. It really increases the odds that we'll be able to take Japan, given all the things we talked about last turn, and I'll try to spare. I'm sure that was confusing and hard to follow, so I'll spare trying to run through the math there again. They dropped 10 guys into northwestern Europe, so we'll probably want to deal with that. And then they bombed Germany again, and we cannot hit a bomber to save our life. Now, I think the only thing positive about this is he either rolled 3 1s or like 2 1s and a 2. Like he only, well, no, yeah, it says 3. So 3 bombers, 3 damage. We got really lucky there, to be honest. So I shouldn't be complaining too much. There were a lot of 1s rolled. We just weren't the one rolling the 1s, which is still, I think, an oddity. We should have probably at least one of those bombers by now. Which turns us to a purchase. I'm going to spend 10 IPC to get our German factory in Berlin back up and running. Get it up to turn out 8 units a turn. Then we're going to buy 8 infantry, 2 artillery. And we're going to split that between Karelia and Germany. We'll lock that in. Now, attacks, I'm having 2 thoughts. One is I no longer need the bomber in France. He has no one he is available to pick up off of the coast here. That gives us the option to use the bomber in an attack here in West Russia. And I think we can hit the Caucasus too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I really want to hit the Caucasus again. So we'll send 2 artillery into West Russia. Then I think we unfortunately do want to send the tank here because it's going to require the bomber. We want to use it on the attack. Don't make that mistake. I've done that before. So let's start with 2 infantry from France. We'll leave these 11 there for now. We have 3 guys coming in here, so let's just add these 3 here. Which leads me to think we have to use all these guys here in Germany. Yeah, probably better to leave the tanks 1 more turn. I'm assuming he'll use these 6 guys. He'll drop them somewhere, probably northwestern Europe again. And then we send all 5 fighters and pray for the best. Let's send 1 more infantry, all 5 fighters. And I think that'll do it. For German attacks, yeah, we'll lock this in and pray for some good dice. We're a little thin on the front here. Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see. That's a big one. No loses, not good. Yeah. Get off him, Brim. Oh, come on, bomber. Love that. Really love that. 2v1, come on, baby. Alright. Alright, we were successful everywhere. Didn't take any hits in the Caucasus. Took 1 in West Russia. And then we took quite a few in northwestern Europe. He had some pretty good rolls with the 2s there. But I will not complain. We'll move the fighters back to Germany. We'll send these. You know, maybe I'll split these because these 5 fighters. Yeah, let's get at least get this up to 8 infantry. Yeah, we'll send the other 1 there. So then we'll have 10 and 5 fighters. We'll have 8, 5 tanks. Actually, maybe we'll send both of these infantry into France.
artillery into Germany, 5 fighters into Germany, and then we're going to drop 8 guys, right? Yeah, 8 guys. These 5 guys will move up. Same with these 6 guys into Ukraine. Bomber will land in Ukraine. We'll leave the tanks there one more turn till the US decides what they want to do with these 6 units in England. And that'll wrap up the non-com. And we're going to put 2 artillery in Karelia with the stack of infantry. Everything else, 8 infantry into Germany. And so we will be back for Japan round 8, which will determine the fate of India, as we will get to catch up on what the UK did. We will see you guys all then. Okay, here we go with Japan round 8. It's going to be an interesting round 8. It's small chance this could be the last round in the game. We'll be up to 9 victory cities at the end of this turn. However, there are 2 victory cities the Americans will have a chance to take. One is Hawaii, which I believe we can defend with 99.9% certainty. However, the Americans also have a shot at Karelia, thanks to the 6 units who have just been sitting in England, sipping tea for the last 4 rounds. He'd be able to send all 6, 3 bombers, 2 fighters at this stack of 7 total units we have in Karelia, which would fall at almost 100% certainty. That doesn't mean we're not going to try. There's a chance he maybe doesn't see Karelia and he goes only for Hawaii, or he doesn't see it at all. I mean, I've actually done that. I've lost a game before. Like, full honesty, full disclosure, I've lost a game before not even knowing I was losing. And I came back in and it's just like, the other team won and you didn't attack any victory cities on your last turn. And I was like, shoot. So we'll try it because I don't think it's at, major risk to anything we would do with Japan. To ensure that we hold Hawaii at least one more turn, we can always just turn around and continue our effort to go ahead and get Moscow. So let's get started with what we're going to do with Japan. Purchase-wise, we're going to buy 3 infantry, 1 artillery, 2 tanks. Then we're going to get a sub and 2 destroyers. All that just in case the game continues. We're going to need some fleet to fight the American fleet that's now being built off the coast of the western US and continue to get some units onto the mainland. So that's the general plan. We will go ahead and lock that in. Now for Hawaii, the only real way we can hold it is if we take these 2 guys. Oh, not drop them on midway. No. Oh, that's a non-combat. Okay. I was like, what the heck? The idea is we're going to drop these 2 guys onto Hawaii, which is a friendly territory now. We took that a turn or 2 ago. And we're going to fly 7 bombers. And you don't really usually use bombers as defense, but all the Americans have to hit are these 4 infantry. So he's going to be rolling all ones. He has no air, no cruisers, battleships, nothing that he can use to help hit this. So there's no reason for us to not go ahead and do that. It obviously takes the bombers away from anything we could do with them here on the mainland. But again, to end the game, it's worth a shot. Now with everything else here in Burma, we're going to step in with everyone. We are going to then we'll take 1 artillery and 1 infantry. We will bring them here. Drop those guys. Then we will bring, another 1 artillery and 1 infantry. Go ahead and bring them into India as well. Now we can't drop any of the planes. It's worth noting he can actually just double back. And he has, I think, a 60% chance to kill everything. And that's obviously, again, assuming the game actually continued. The rest of these guys will be non-combat. Bombers will be non-combat. Fighters will be non-combat. We'll send this 1 infantry. We will go ahead and blitz Sinkang. Now we can definitely get some fighters on this attack. We are going to land at least 1 on here, which means these 3 can come up here. Hit this. We'll land these other fighters with the fleet that we move into 35, and similarly we need to keep this fleet together to protect against the 6 bombers. He moved to Russia. We'll actually have better odds than we gave him in the last turn, so highly doubt he does it, but no need to give him the chance to rethink that decision and shoot his shot if he so decides. All right, so we're just praying that we don't get a hit back here in Kazakh. All right, we'll lock in the combat.
All right, well, that sucks. We missed everything in Kazakh, and he hit us with the one guy. So that's a bummer. But I'm pretty sure all these guys, let me just double check, they have to land here. Yep. So he could hit that with an infantry, yeah. But that, I mean, that'd be kind of silly of him to do that. These two guys will go north just to deal with this tank blitz thing he's doing up here. This fighter's going on the carrier. One transport is going here. The other's going to, oops. Well, that's fine. The other one's going to 60. We'll have 1 and 51 to scoop this guy. Nothing can hit us here, and 51. We will take these 2 units in Alaska. We will go ahead and dump them on Hawaii. We will sacrifice the transport. We'll bring the battleship back. Bombers all come to Hawaii. Navy comes down into India. Get everything down here. Cruisers, battleship, aircraft carriers. We'll send these 2 infantry into Szechuan. Send this 1 infantry into Burma just in case he decides to hit this. We can hit with our fighters and the infantry. I mean, he'd have to take a ton of hits on all of his air to preserve the 1 unit to take India. But we'll just give ourselves the option. That one guy's not going to make or break Szechuan. We got everyone back. We're off 51. We're off 60. Fortunately, the transport will die. And it's a waste of a transport, like, essentially, right? I'm playing a little hope chess, as they say. I'm hoping my opponent doesn't see the right move. And his only move is to hit Karelia. So if he hits Karelia, that's just a free transport we're giving him. And I'm assuming we'll eventually just need to give up Hawaii again. But I don't know. Let's say we have a 10% chance he doesn't see that. He didn't see a lot of the transports he left open to snipe. Maybe he'll miss Karelia and the game will be over. We'll see. We'll go ahead and lock that in. 2 tanks into Manchuria. And we'll take the artillery with us. The other 3 infantry into Japan. 2 destroyers and a sub into 60. Start building up another little mini Pacific fleet. Now that's going to close mobilization for Japan. So we got another 46 IPC. We're going to hop into Africa next turn, unless he wipes everything in India. We'll push from India. We'll go full bore into getting more guys onto the continent. We're a turn or 2 behind now because we decided to grab India. But we'll see if we have a game when we get back. Americans have to take Karelia. And if they do, I will see you guys back here for Germany round 9. There it is. We did it. Axis victory by way of controlling the 9 victory cities. And unfortunately, our opponent did not see the play on Karelia, but I'm guessing he didn't realize that the game was about to be over. I don't think he realized we had 9 victory cities and that the game would end after this turn, especially based on the combats and the mobilization and all that type of stuff. But this was a good game. If it wasn't now, I do think it was just a matter of time. We had a 50-point attack power lead with the conclusion of the U.S. turn, so that would have been a little less. You know, the British or the Russians would have had a chance to buy. So thoughts on this game? I think we did a really good job being flexible and adaptable and taking advantage of our opponent's mistakes and not feeling like we are pot committed on a specific strategy or an idea. I think a really good example of that was me getting a little too hungry for the IPC in Africa and then realizing I have to retreat the transport battleship carrier I think I had here in 30. That's a tough pill to swallow, to say, hey, I made a mistake. This is about to get wiped by the bombers he had in India. Let's just retreat. We lost 2 turns. We could have Hawaii, 2 turns earlier if we just went to New Zealand and then up. But admitting that we made the mistake and not just being stubborn and following through with that, I think was the right move. And it ultimately helped win the game because we ended up getting Hawaii. So that's good. I have to take a note of that. And following through on bad ideas is usually not a good idea. Believe it or not, following through on bad ideas is not a good idea. Who would have thought? And similarly with Germany, I think we were in a similar position where we were going hard at Russia. We had him kind of on the ropes, but he had a big threat with the landings, specifically with the Americans. He was getting ready to drop like 14 units at one point onto France. He was doing landings in and around Germany and in Scandinavia. And we came back. We doubled back with the tanks. We stacked them in France.
and basically said, we're not going to allow you to do what you want to do. You have to do something else. And our opponent wasn't able to kind of adjust, in my opinion. It was clear he was trying to D-Day over and over, and we said, you can't. And that's helped by the fact that our opponent, unfortunately, did not realize for multiple turns that we could bomb C-Zone 10 from France. And I think that kind of clinched the game, for Germany at least, right? I think it was 5 transports we got. That's 35 IPC, and that's potentially like 10 units. It's tough to come back with the Americans from that. They have to get units on the board and begin to trade with the Axis to give their allies, a chance to survive. And I think leaving these 6 guys in England, not just on the last turn, obviously he needed to take those guys and take Karelia, but just in general, what are we doing? Why are 6 guys in England? These guys need to be in Europe. They need to be trading German lives for American lives. Otherwise, Germany is just going to continue to pump infantry and you're not going to get anywhere. So little small things like that, a couple small mistakes we were able to take advantage of, a couple misplays by our opponent just ultimately led to us being able to take the victory here. But it was a good game. So hats off to our opponent. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I think this was my second Axis game in the placement round for Ranked Seasons 13. Definitely have more games coming, and those will be coming out soon. So we'll see you guys in the next one.